Welcome back to the channel and another episode of Brian Reads the News. Today I got an article in looper.com. I've been watching a lot, reading a lot of these articles out of looper.com. It's kind of a fun site with all kinds of fun stories. So let's get in one today. I have one on American Pickers, the famous A&E TV show with Mike and Frank. Let's take a look. Here it is, Mike, Wolfe, and Frank Fritz's American Pickers Feud explained. So I did a story recently on Frank Fritz. That one took off. A lot of people like to watch that one, so I thought I would follow up with this story. Seemed pretty interesting. I like to watch that show myself, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. So let's see what this feud is all about. They're going to explain it to us, so let's take a listen. Over the course of 24 seasons and more than 370 episodes, Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz of American Pickers have become one of TV's all-time greatest and most popular duos. They helped shape the face and trajectory of the History Network, with their show becoming one of the channel's biggest hits. The simple and compelling premise is that Wolfe and Fritz, seasoned antique pickers with complementary areas of expertise, drive around the United States looking for out-of-the-way barns, farmhouses, and garages in search of an abandoned and forgotten treasures. With the help of Danielle Colbys holding down things back home at their shop and headquarters, the trio then turn around their remarkable finds and sell them for big bucks. The format is almost infinitely repeatable and makes for some great binge watching and comfort television. That is certainly the case. Or at least it did. American Pickers as it once was is no more. In the summer of 2021, an apparently long simmering and very nasty feud between Wolfe and Fritz became a matter of public record. Here's a blow-by-blow account of the ugly infighting between the stars of American Pickers.
Ooh, the lost treasure of Frank Fritz.
In retrospect, signs of the American Pickers-oriented schism were present way back in the spring of 2020. At first, season 21 of the series kept up with the show's vulnerable format of Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz traveling around the US looking for treasure, finding that treasure, assessing and acquiring that treasure, and moving on to the next stop. But then the 7th episode of The Batch Burlesque Queen marked what is, for all intents and purposes, the swan song of Fritz's tenure on the show. In the installment, Frank and Mike venture to Kansas City in search of a rare and interesting goods. It first aired on March 2nd, 2020, but in the next episode, titled Ghost of the West, Fritz was nowhere to be seen. Neither erstwhile partner Wolfe nor store manager, and suddenly promoted on-location picking partner Danielle Colbys gave an explanation for Frank's extended absence, an American Pickers first, and barely acknowledged that anything was ever amiss. Due to coronavirus pandemic lockdowns and restrictions on TV production, season 22 of American Pickers didn't hit the air until 2021, January 2021, nearly a year after those initial Fritz-free episodes debuted. With Fritz still gone from the show and summarily replaced, fans got worried and realized that the American Pickers star might be gone for good.
Frank Fritz made a lot of changes in his life.
Finally, in July of 2021, Frank Fritz emerged and broke his silence, explaining why he was no longer part of the show and that had made him a reality TV star. According to the interview with The Sun, Fritz claims that he didn't leave American Pickers but rather ceased to participate in the new batch of episodes. Those two things sound like they're the same, but they are ever so slightly different, and Fritz can explain, quote, "It's up to the network whether I come back on the show," he said. "I didn't leave the show. I finished shooting and then I had a little back surgery and the pandemic came." Those comments allude to Fritz's complicated health situation. He couldn't film American Pickers in 2020 and 2021 because of his need to recuperate from back surgery. He also suffers from Crohn's disease, a serious and chronic inflammatory system that affects the digestive system, and lost more than 65 pounds, which he attributed to exercising more and quitting alcohol. Quote, "I haven't had a drink in almost 9 to 10 months," he said. But through all those health issues, Frank said, it's something that Wolfe did and said that really started their feud, and which directly led to his non-involvement with the American Pickers. Or rather, it's what he alleges Wolfe did not say and did not do that upset him.
Frank Fritz says he and Mike Wolfe had professional problems and personal coldness.
Frank Fritz told The Sun that his falling out with Mike Wolfe, whom he says he's known for more than 40 years, began literally very quietly sometime before news of the American Pickers feud reached the public in 2021. Quote, "I haven't talked to Mike in 2 years," Fritz said, adding that what really stung is how he didn't even field a call from his friend of many decades and co-star of 1 decade before or after his back surgery. Quote, "He knew my back was messed up, but he didn't call me up and ask how I was doing. That's just how it is." This seemed to make some other dormant issues of resentment bubble up for Fritz, particularly tension with Wolfe over the presentation and production of American Pickers. Quote, "The show was tilted towards him 1000%, Fritz alleged. "I can't even bend that far down to show you how much." But despite calling out Wolfe and other members of the American Pickers team by association, Fritz professed an acceptance of his role on his former program. Quote, "It's like you've got Aerosmith and there's Steven Tyler and he's the front man," Fritz explained. "I found my spot. I'm second and he's number 1 on the show. That's no problem with me. Maybe he does have a problem."
Mike Wolfe told the world that Frank Fritz won't be returning to American Pickers.
On July 21st, 2021, history made it official. A representative from the network told Entertainment Weekly that Fritz's long tenure on American Pickers had indeed come to an end, and that he would not appear in any more episodes in the foreseeable future. The source says that history wasn't actively planning on Fritz coming back, nor did he fit in with the big picture of the franchise. At that point, Mike Wolfe finally weighed in on Fritz's absence, but without answering or acknowledging any of the criticisms levied by him by his now ex-co-star. He released a statement to the entertainment media outlets wishing his former cohort well and curiously not protesting Fritz's decision whatsoever. Quote, "I've known Frank for a long time as I can remember. He's been like a brother to me," Wolfe wrote. "The journey that Frank, Danny, and I started back in 2009, like all of our life, has come with its highs and its lows, blessings and its challenges. But it has also been the most rewarding. I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey."
Danielle Colbys is apparently Team Mike Wolfe.
While Mike Wolfe's statement on the ongoing Frank Fritz affair was brief, polite, and professional, remarks from another individual in the American Pickers family were a bit more dramatic and even accusatory. On August 2nd, 2021, Danielle Colbys, the third cast member of American Pickers and crucial part of the show's triangle of success, released a statement on the backstage drama via Instagram, and she clearly picked a side. Quote, "I'm proud of how you have handled the last 12 years and look forward to many more years of rolling around this big blue marble together," Colbys wrote with a photo of herself and Wolfe. Out on the road again. I'm truly saddened for the loss of Frank on the show. I'm incredibly sad for his struggles." Colbys added that she hoped that things could have been different, but we must be accountable for our actions when we cause instability or pain and suffering to others, and that Frank caused so much pain for himself that it has been hard to watch. She said, perhaps alluding to Frank's alcohol issues, which he should discuss with The Sun, or some other very personal things which the general public has not yet heard about.
Frank Fritz thought Mike Wolfe's comments were disingenuous.
By August of 2021, the full story of the present-day relationship or lack thereof between Frank Fritz and Mike Wolfe of American Pickers was beginning to come together. Following Fritz's revelatory interview with The Sun, in which he claimed that he and Wolfe hadn't spoken in years, not even during a personal health crisis, and Wolfe's affable remarks upon the confirmation that Fritz had left American Pickers, one of the two warring parties sat down for one more tough interview. Frank's returned to The Sun, calling out Wolfe's well-wishing words. Quote, "Mike's statement was bull. Somebody wrote it down out for him," Fritz alleged. Quote, "I don't believe in 10 years he's said 5 nice things to me, you know, unless he was cutting somebody else down and we were both laughing." Wolfe didn't respond to Fritz's response. So while it looks like the feud is over, ending in an impasse for the time being, Fritz told The Sun that he's not done fighting in the one venue where it could really hurt his former co-star and his former producers. Quote, "There's thousands of people that want me back. They've got a petition to get me back on the show," Fritz said of his fans. Quote, "I could go either way and find a new show, have something new, and have just as much fun." So I probably butchered that quote a little bit, but you guys get the point.
Frank Fritz sought treatment for alcoholism, and he's ready to return to American Pickers.
In addition to his years-long recovery period after back surgery, which required 185 stitches and involved the placement of 2 rods in his spine, Fritz spent his lengthy time away from American Pickers addressing another complicated medical and personal issue. In 2021 interview with The Sun, Frank shared that he checked into the Abbey Center, an additional treatment facility in Bedford, Iowa. He spent 77 days trying to break his addiction to alcohol. "I didn't like drinking anymore. My mom was an alcoholic and she died 5 years ago, and it was alcohol related," Fritz said. "My grandfather was an alcoholic and he died. That didn't sit well with me." He added that during his time in rehab, he was kept busy all day, every day, and read a dozen self-help books. Quote, "I really got into it. I went there to learn and get the most of it that I possibly could," Fritz said. At the time of the interview, Fritz had been sober for nearly a year, and while he still attends counseling meetings 2 times a week, he'd like to get back into the swing of things, meaning his job as the co-host of American Pickers. Quote, "I miss my friends and my people and being on the road and meeting all those different characters."
Frank Fritz's alcoholism was still a problem for Mike Wolfe.
While Frank Fritz said he sought out help for his addiction issues, the subject remains a sensitive one for people in his orbit, particularly his former American Pickers screen partner Mike Wolfe. Judging from some comments Wolfe made to The Sun in August of 2021, he didn't think Fritz is ready to return to American Pickers, his own stated desire to do so notwithstanding. Quote, "We all do care for Frank and we want him back on the show," Wolfe said, speaking for the whole of the American Pickers cast and crew. Quote, "We would absolutely love to, but he just can't get it right." Can't get what right exactly? Wolfe implied that he can't speak to any progress Fritz has made in getting his alcohol issues under control, but then he also would love to talk to him again after having not done so for about 2 years. Quote, "Frank is just going through a lot of personally with addictions," Wolfe said. "It's unfortunate that he's made decisions that have him the way he is."
Mike Wolfe thinks Frank Fritz is irreplaceable.
In July of 2022, Frank Fritz was found unresponsive at his home in Davenport, Iowa, and was quickly admitted to a local hospital where doctors discovered that the American Picker star had suffered a serious stroke. After being hospitalized for a month, Fritz was moved into a residential rehabilitation facility to begin his prolonged and arduous recovery from the debilitating neurological episode. According to The Sun, Fritz's health care expenses were so substantial, around $23,000 a month, and the reality TV personality's functions were so diminished by the stroke the court appointed a temporary guardian and financial conservator to oversee Fritz's affairs. At the time that his medical ordeal began, Fritz was still in the midst of a dispute with his American Pickers partner Mike Wolfe. In light of the situation, Wolfe put the squabbling aside. Quote, "There has been lots of opinions in regards to mine and Frank's friendship and the show, but now is not the time to set this record straight. Now is the time to pray for my friend," Wolfe wrote on Instagram. Quote, "Frank, I pray more than anything that you make it through this okay. I love you, buddy." In February of 2023, with Fritz still recovering, Wolfe implied that he was reluctant to do American Pickers without his longtime co-star. Quote, "Nothing will ever replace Frank. We miss him," Wolfe wrote on Instagram. "We much like y'all do. Very much like y'all do."
What was Frank Fritz dealing with behind the scenes?
While the Ersatz Pickers roamed the country with Mike Wolfe, Frank Fritz was dealing with more than just medical problems. Those medical issues nevertheless built up, including back surgery, Crohn's disease, a stroke in 2022, and struggles with alcoholism that Fritz seems to have dealt with. But Fritz had other problems as well, including the tumultuous end of a relationship with his former fiancée, Diane Bankson. Fritz and Bankson, who got engaged in 2018 but split up several years, had accused each other of infidelity. Fritz's ex also sued the former American Pickers star in January of 2020, alleging that Fritz had been negligent with fireworks. The incident in question, Bankson said, left her with third-degree burns and burnt off eyebrows and eyelashes. She further alleged that Franks refused to take her to the hospital. Though she dropped with the suit in March of that same year, the legal troubles couldn't have helped his chances of being hired back by the network.
Frank Fritz and Mike Wolfe finally reunited in 2023.
After years of a behind-the-scene feud, it would appear that Frank Fritz and Mike Wolfe have buried the hatchet, and then unburied it, blew the dust off, and appraised it for thousands of dollars. While Fritz has still not appeared on the History series since 2020, the Pickers finally reunited over Memorial Day weekend in 2023. The Quad City Times quoted an anonymous friend of Fritz who said, quote, "Mike has been wanting to see Frank for quite some time. Frank just now felt up to seeing him. It was Frank's request to see Mike." They reportedly spent their reunion catching up and reliving old times, and spoke about one of his first major talk show appearances on The Late Show with David Letterman from 2011. The source said that Fritz was still recovering from his stroke and that emotions ran high. She said that both men were in tears at their reunion, and that Wolfe told his former co-host, "Nobody can replace you, Frank." Fritz's friend even fueled the fires of fans' desire for a Pickers reunion on TV. Quote, "Mike really stressed all the good times they had before the show and during the show," she said. Quote, "Mike did not say he'd like Frank back on the show, but Frank is focused on his health. While the once hot feud appears to have been extinguished, fans can look forward to speculating whether or not Fritz will return to American Pickers trucks back onto television for season 25. There you have it, another successful segment of Brian Reads the News. That was a long one. Frank and Mike been together a long time on that road, chasing those treasures. Sounds like Frank's been through quite a bit lately with the stroke and alcoholism and breaking up with his girl. It's back surgery. Man, he's been through the ringer. Seems like it might be time for him to retire from all that. You know, maybe make a guest appearance on the next one. Let Mike go on with his brother and Danielle, and let the show continue that way. And maybe peek in on him and make an appearance here and there. That would probably be the best move at this point. Health is number one at all times, I think. And when it starts to fail like that, it's probably just a sign you need to relax a little, right? And it seems like Mike is ready to continue on with his brother and Danielle, and the show should be good, irregardless of whether or not Frank is there. I mean, Frank added a little chemistry. Him and Mike always had that, but doesn't mean he can't have that with somebody else. I'd like to see the show go on. Of course, like they said, it's kind of comfort watching. You turn it on, you watch a few episodes, and you kind of forget about things. see what they're going chasing after, what they find, who they encounter on the road. It's always a good time. As a reseller myself, I think a lot of you guys probably have had that fantasy of jumping in a van and hitting the road like that, you know. I kind of have that as well, you know, to do that someday, chase after some deals down the roads, and you go here, there, and everywhere. And my idea is to hit the thrift stores. I don't know about these private buys, you know, but when you get to their level and you have these private buys with the more expensive inventory, it can be a little bit more stressful. But I think I could keep it stress-free on the road and really find some great stuff. If any of you guys are watching this for the first time, welcome to the channel. I am a reseller, like I said. If you want to follow my journey, I do have a daily vlog that kind of details my business, what I'm selling, what I'm buying, how I'm listing it, how much I'm listing for it. I do Bolos by Brian, stuff that I find that sells well online that I let you guys know about. So if you're out there thrifting, you can also find that stuff and benefit from that knowledge. I also have several storage unit cleanouts on my channel, videos of that stuff, and I plan to do more in the future. So if you like that sort of thing, hit that subscription button, ring that notification bell, and come on back for some more. I want to thank everybody for watching this one. This is my attempt to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours on YouTube so that I can monetize my channel. So if you made it to this far, you really helped me out a lot. Give me some hours trying to inch closer to that 4,000. It's a long ways away at this point, but we're gonna get there. I'm hoping to do it in the next year. So come on back, watch a few more, check out my other videos, maybe watch some of those Brian Reads the News segments, or maybe some of that storage unit cleanout videos. Just search that stuff by keyword and you'll find it. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.